8 migrants arrested for burglary charges, looting in hurricane-damaged Northeast Tennessee. Fugitive illegal alien rapist arrested in Memphis. Almost 73% of conservatives rate Tennessee House Speaker Cameron Sexton's leadership as poor on illegal immigration. I can't imagine why. Rutherford County School Board discusses drastic increase in non-English speaking students. We're going to be talking about Tom Lawless, a gentleman on the campaign finance board who is weaponizing that board and is being accused of such by his own board members. Ban Book Week aims to subvert Tennessee law protecting kids from sexually explicit books. And good news, a federal judge dismisses a challenge to Tennessee law protecting kids from sharing restrooms with the opposite gender. I am Brandon Lewis with the TenCon Big 7 Weekend Update, coming to you live from the woods, not too far from my driveway. We are glad to have you here. It was such a beautiful day. I thought I'd get out in God's creation and take a look at it. Guys, do go to TennesseeConservativeNews.com. Hit that subscribe button. You can also text the word news to 423-205-5600. That's 423-205-5600. You can follow us on the social media platforms where we have not been shadow banned. That is Gab, Getter Truth, MeWe, and Rumble. And definitely follow us on Twitter, where we're having a huge impact. Guys, it's been a while, and I am remiss in getting into the mailbag, so we're just going to go ahead and get started here. Got this first note. It's like a little Christmas theme. Brandon, thank you for your commitment to shining the light in the dark wood. I'm just in the dark wood of Tennessee politics. Hope this helps. Keep you going. God bless Bob and Kelly. Thank you, Bob and Kelly. Dear Brandon and staff, got another one here. Again, thanks so much for all you do for conservatives in our state. Enclosed is a small amount that will hopefully help you get a reporter to the Capitol, which we're raising money for right now. Go to TennesseeConservativeNews.com/support. We hope to be able to send Adelia to the Capitol this legislative session. Y'all are the best for the news. Sincerely, Sandra. Thank you, Sandra. Dear Brandon, got another one here. I like these little notes that people send me on these colored pieces of paper. I'm praying for a large blessing for our wonderful news. You need 20K and for improving and much more. God bless you and your family. Kind regards, Jamie. Jamie, thank you so much. Make sure I didn't miss any of these. I think that's what I got here. I think I left one. Maybe one of them was in my pocket. I knew I had another one. Here we go. This one says, thank you for sending the bumper stickers. Keep up the good work. I can't read the signature. All right, guys, let's move on to the news. 8 migrants arrested on burglary charges for looting in hurricane-damaged Northeast Tennessee. Sorry for the sounds there. 8 individuals suspected to be migrants or potential illegal aliens were arrested last Saturday in Washington County on burglary charges for allegedly looting flood-ravaged areas affected by Hurricane Helene. 3 of the individuals were charged with burglary, and the remaining 5 were charged with aggravated burglary as they broke into occupied structures. As if it's not enough that Tennesseans are having to deal with floods, losing their home, losing their cities. As if it's not enough that FEMA has spent all of its money distributing illegal aliens all over the United States at your expense and mine. If it's not enough that Tennessee leadership does absolutely nothing about illegal immigration to stop it at the state level, but instead kills it, now we are looting the flood victims. You can't make this stuff up. The New York Post and Fox News have both claimed a spokesperson from the Washington County Sheriff's Department verified that the migrants were here on a legal work visa, but Fox News states that will change as a result of the charges. I mean, when you're here on a work visa and you commit a crime, you're now an illegal alien. So the moment these people committed the crime, they're not migrants anymore. They're illegal aliens. No specificity was available to whether the visas were originally legally applied for prior to entry to the U.S. or if they were assigned to the individuals that were already here. The New York Post also reported that Immigration and Custom Enforcement did not immediately have information on the men Monday evening, which leads me to believe maybe we don't know who they are That's usually the case with most folks that come here illegally, because we're not checking documentation. There's no way to look into these third world countries to see where these people come from. And if the documents are legitimate, we're just letting them pour across the border and into Tennessee. A Tennessee conservative also reached out to Washington County Sheriff's Office for comment and to verify any immigration detainer holds, which would indicate if any of the defendants are in the country illegally and waiting to be transferred into Immigration and Customs, and we have not received a response. Washington County Sheriff's Office, guys, you probably really should get back to the media. It's not very hard. According to a statement on their Facebook account, deputies will, quote, continue to patrol the region during this catastrophic flooding. Each of the defendants is held on a $20,000 bond and expected to appear in court. I'm sure if these people pay their bond, they will duly show up to court and not skip their court date. Next story, fugitive illegal alien rapist arrested in Memphis. Nothing to see here, says Bill Lee. Nothing to see here, says Cameron Sexton. Nothing to see here, Randy McNally. Don't worry about us killing these bills and never speaking out about illegal immigration, never doing anything at the state level. It's okay. Tennesseans aren't being harmed or hurt. The U.S. Marshals Service reports that an illegal alien wanted in New Jersey on charges of sex crimes against a minor was arrested in Memphis on Tuesday. That's what you want living next door to you in Tennessee. The Linden City Municipal Court in Union City, New Jersey, issued a warrant on September 23rd for 34-year-old Samarillo Alberto Perez. Perez was wanted for several charges, including 1 count of first-degree aggravated assault of a child, 2 counts of second-degree second assault, 1 count of third-degree sexual assault, and 1 count of second-degree endangering the welfare of a child after U.S. Marshals in New Jersey, who were hunting for Perez, discovered he had headed south and was possibly hiding out in the Memphis area. The Marshals Two-River Violent Fugitive Task Force in Memphis was contacted to provide assistance. Which leads us to our next story, right? You might expect this. Like if people are peeing in the soup at a restaurant, or if folks are giving crappy service, and if the food stinks, you're probably going to have a real bad rating on Google My Business. You're probably going to have a real bad health rating. Well, Cameron Sexton has a real bad rating on illegal immigration because his record is really bad on it. Last week, we asked Tennesseans, how would you grade Tennessee House Speaker Cameron Sexton and his leadership? We probably should have put lack of leadership, but that would have been leading in Tennessee to stop illegal immigration at the state level. 72.9% of respondents rated Sexton's efforts as poor. And they are poor. I don't know who the other 20-some-odd% are. They must be low information or his staff. Along with several comments simply giving Sexton an F, others said an F. He's really no different than Rhino Lee. We need a true conservative governor and speaker for Tennessee. F, just another spineless rhino. Another commenter on X stated, all you have to do is go into a suburban store around Nashville to see individuals who can barely speak English using a debit card with shopping carts full of clothing and household goods that we pay for. Nolensville Pike, just south of Old Hickory, on a Saturday night is chaos. You can reference our illegal immigration timeline. If you really want to know what's been going on in the state, if this is something you're curious about, go to Google and just type in Tennessee illegal immigration timeline and share that thing around. Send it to folks that think everything is just hunky-dory here in Tennessee, because it ain't. Next story. Rutherford County School Board discusses drastic increase in non-English speaking students. Every week, there is some kind of negative story, and often many. And these are only the ones we know about. Imagine how much they're hiding. For every one that we find, there has to be at least 100 that we don't. During the September 30th Rutherford County Board of Education work session, the board discussed a surge of English as a second language students, illegal aliens. The back and forth between a couple of the board members revealed specific numbers regarding the increase in enrollment of illegal aliens in the school district over the past decade. The board member said, quote, in the last 10 years, we've grown 11,600 students. 5,800 are ESL students. So 50% of our growth in the last 10 years has been illegal aliens. English learners, illegal aliens. And so you see the Tennessee government education apparatus bragging about the increase in enrollment as homeschooling enrollment goes up, right? And people are bringing their kids out of these failing government schools. And the backfilling has been exclusively done by illegal aliens. at your expense, $12,000 a year per student. Somebody brings 3 kids here, 36 grand to the taxpayer. What's Bill Lee doing? What's Cameron Sexton doing? What's Republican leadership doing? Nothing. Nothing. At least they're consistent. A board member also indicated that the growth has been mainly in the last 2 to 3 years. 2 separate pie charts were presented during of which for the counties and the newcomers to the schools from the number that have enrolled each county. Some came from Venezuela, Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, the highest percentage coming from Venezuela and Mexico. And while the board makes no direct mention of the border crisis or migrants, there's an implication that these numbers are directly tied to the illegal immigrant surge. Of course, it is. The Tennessee Conservative has previously reported on the expense of taxpayers to educating illegal immigrants, and that there are approximately 50,000 children of illegal aliens attending local schools in Tennessee alone. Let's say $50,000. Okay, let's put 5000. Let's add. Let's just multiply it by 10,000. We'll even forget about the 2,000. Okay, just multiply it by 10,000. Right? Oh gosh, we'd have to move that over 50,000 times $10,000 a year. Gosh. That's up $500 million. And then the other 2 gets us up to $600, $700 million a year just to educate illegal aliens. And Bill Lee's fine with this. Cameron Sexton's fine with this. Randy McNally is fine with this. Every time legislation is brought to stop the taxpayer funding of illegal immigrant education, which is probably the number 2 magnet here in Tennessee, it gets killed in committee by rhinos. Guys, where are you going to get this news if you don't support us? I spoke at the Freedom Fest, a nice bunch of folks I got to meet up in the Loudon area this weekend. And I asked a very pointed question. And it's, raise your hand if you have donated to a state or local candidate in the last cycle. This is a collection of conservatives, people that braved the elements to come out to this event. And I'm sad to report that very few hands went up. And conservative Christians who are cheap and never give can't blame the government when it goes in the opposite direction of their values, because if all the corporations are giving and if all the conservative Christians are not, they will go the way of the corporations. Same thing in media. Why aren't there more conservative media outlets? Because conservative Christians give lip service to it, but they don't financially support it. Guys, don't be in that audience. We have got to come together. We've got to give $10 a month, guys, $5 a month. Be one of our monthly recurring donors. If you give $50 or more, or a recurring donation of $10 or more, we will send you a Proud Tennessee Conservative tumbler, along with a koozie, a couple of bumper stickers, my heartfelt thanks, and a directory of your elected officials up in Nashville. Guys, TennesseeConservativeNews.com/support, or like so many that I read that mail in little checks, $50, $100, occasionally some big money. I'll talk to you about that here in a second. But it all adds up, guys, and we're kind of low right now, to be honest. We're low. It's slow and low right now with the giving. And so we are moving backwards, which is not a feeling that I like to see in the meager operating accounts of the Tennessee Conservatives. So if you can give, mail your checks to P.O. Box 625, Signal Mountain, Tennessee 37377, P.O. Box 625, Signal Mountain, Tennessee 37377, and we will put it to good use. All right. Tom Lawless threatens conservative group with TBI and is accused of weaponization by fellow campaign finance board member. Last week, Sumner County constitutional Republicans were cleared of financial wrongdoing after a complaint alleging illegal PAC activity, but the Tennessee Registry of Election Finance Board, Tom Lawless, appeared to be continuing his targeted efforts against conservative groups and individuals while protecting establishment players. Lawless, the state Republican caucus appointee, I mean, why in the hell they would put this joker on this board? I mean, unless they're just trying to ruin the perception that the thing is impartial. I mean, you think they'd be sneakier about it than to have somebody that's so blatant and idiotic. Has been the driving force in multiple investigations into candidates and conservative groups. The latest instance appears to present an idea so outrageous it merited some rebuke from his own colleagues. They dragged these people in a subpoena up to Nashville, dozens, from what I understand, because some dude took a bunch of pictures of Facebook posts and sent it to them. These people are buying stickers, buying biscuits, occasional t-shirt, no direct money spent on candidates, and they're being harassed by this board. I'd have told him to kiss my you-know-what, and I wouldn't have gone up there. Or if I did, I'd tell him to kiss my you-know-what in person. It was amazing. It was embarrassing. It just made me fume. I had to stop watching it. During the board meeting from September 24th hearing, Lawless attempted to persuade the board to refer the case to the TBI, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. If you think that weaponization is only going on up in Washington with Trump and conservatives and J6ers, Tom Lawless has got it alive and well right here in Nashville. And who is weaponizing it? The Republican establishment who put him on the board. Lawless suggests they should, quote, say dump the case in the lap of the TBI. You guys go after them and figure out what they've done, A, B, C, and D, and if they have to deal with it. This guy is an embarrassment to the Republican Party through and through. Board Chairman Henry Fincher responded, there's nothing remotely criminal here, indicating the TBI would not have jurisdiction on this matter. During his comments, board member William Haynes, another one, used the term weaponization. He said, we don't want to appear to be weaponizing this board or weaponize it. I mean, he said it several times. And then some other lady, I can't remember, the big one, is like, oh, I kind of agree with Tom. Let's sick the TBI on him. Where do they get these people? We have freedom of speech. We have freedom of assembly. Do they think some little board can get together and penalize these little grassroots groups while ignoring the hundreds of thousands of dollars in the Republican leadership PAC that are consistently coordinated? And every single complaint brought to this board against an incumbent isn't even looked into. You want to talk about a board that has lost its credibility entirely, that will drag a bunch of people up to Tennessee, Nashville's capital, harass them, cost them money, time, embarrass them in front of folks, talk down to them. It's terrible. And meanwhile, won't actually be a safeguard to the people with those in power. Never even looked into a single solitary registered complaint against an incumbent that's been sent up there for all this collusion. They're worried about pennies and nickels. And meanwhile, millions of nasty, dirty corporate money is flowing through the political process, and when a complaint is lodged, these people have no interest in it. It's disgusting. During his comments, member David Golden also expressed his reluctance to act more than an interpretive body. Though she did not directly refer to the TBI, Democrat Paige Burcham Dennis agreed with Lawless. Of course, a Democrat and Lawless would be in agreement, because he is one. Next story, Banned Books Week aims to subvert, not subvert. That would be below Bert. I think that's Ernie, because Bert's taller. Banned Books Week aims to subvert Tennessee laws protecting kids from sexually explicit reading materials. September 28th was the last day of an annual event entitled Banned Books Week, which is aimed to promote books that have been removed from school and public libraries under laws that require sexually explicit and overly violent content to become inaccessible to children. Tennessee's version of the law went into effect that basically says, hey, you got to list your library books online so parents can look at it so they know that you don't have garbage in there. This has really got people up in arms. The very fact that taxpayers could say, hey, can you clean this pornography and this propaganda and this sexually explicit stuff out of the library? Because we can't read, write, and do arithmetic in Tennessee schools. Do we have time for this crap over here? Probably not. And so there's a coalition, the American Library Association and Penguin Random House Publishing, have a Banned Books Week website, a schedule of events, a list of the top 10 most challenged books. Little Free Libraries, and other Banned Book Week's partner, has 1,369 locations in Tennessee. Nashville Public Library has leveraged this pushback effort to make a marketing campaign by offering library cards that say, I read banned books. Our government money going to this garbage. You know, we're graduating functionally illiterate kids in Tennessee schools. I've taught them. I taught at a little junior college thing, a little technical college for a period of time. And folks that have been in Hamilton County Public Schools for 13 years, like couldn't punctuate a sentence, couldn't spell, couldn't do 3 supporting paragraphs, 13 years. And I'm like, I can't help these folks at this point. Like, you would need 3 or 4 years of remediation on the basics before this coursework's even going to be helpful to you. Further, parents shouldn't have to worry about what's in public school libraries. The analogy I use often is this. If you heard that a restaurant had to have a big, huge meeting about not peeing in the soup, right? And they had to have this meeting over and over and over again, and the patrons would come and complain about people peeing in the soup, and then the restaurant would go, oh, I don't think that's really happening, or a little pee won't hurt, and oh, you need to get used to the pee in the soup. Would you go eat there? No, because there's something fundamentally wrong with the leadership and the people at that restaurant. That's public schools. That's government education. We have to constantly and continually pass all these bills, or try to. Like, take the gay pride flags out of Tennessee school classrooms. No. Randy McNally's for them being left in there. Voted with the Democrats. And then every one of the spineless senators that was on that committee skedaddled out of the room while McNally voted with the Democrats. We got to say, hey, you can't tell white kids they're evil because they were born a certain color. What used to be known as good old-fashioned racism. Why would you send your kids to a place where you have to pass those kind of laws to begin with? It is a bad sign. Good news, federal judge dismisses challenge to Tennessee law protecting kids from sharing restrooms with opposite gender. This begs the question. Rhinos always tell me when we start talking about anything that would stop illegal immigration in our state, at the state level, well, there'd be a court case. Somebody would challenge it. Well, no F word. They freaking challenge everything that is conservative. You can bank on it. It's not if they're going to do it, it's yes, they're going to do it. We have to be prepared to defend it. And have some courage to represent the people back in your districts instead of the corporations. A federal judge has upheld Tennessee's Accommodations for All Children Act, affirming the state's authority to regulate bathroom access in public schools based on biological sex. U.S. District Judge William Campbell dismissed the challenge brought by the Human Rights Campaign and gay advocacy organizations. The law was signed into Governor Lee's hand in 2021, stating that public schools may offer transgender students alternative single-use restroom, but prohibits them from using multi-occupancy restrooms, not aligning with their sex. If the ruling reinforces the decision that public schools must maintain separate facilities for boys and girls, if not, parents and students may choose to sue a school system if transgender students are allowed to use the restroom that does not align with their biological gender, and I hope they do. I hope they do. The decision marks a significant victory, maybe the only way that parents can get any money back from this freaking sucking sound. You can hear it. It's the sound of government education taking half of our tax dollars plus and flushing it down the toilet. That's all we got. That's all we got. That is all the news that you can use. Guys, I will be out of town next week. And so we'll have a fill-in. We always do. We're not going to leave you hanging. I'm going to Boston. We're going to go. We recently went to Philadelphia. We are homeschooling our children, and I thought, what better way, and my wife thought, what better way to educate your kids about civics in America than to actually show them. So we went to Philadelphia, saw Independence Hall, Ben Franklin Museum, the Liberty Bell, Constitution Hall, all that kind of stuff. And now we're going to Boston, to the USS Constitution. We're going to go to the Tea Party site museum, Plymouth Rock. We're going to jettison over to John Adams' house, and we're also going to a couple other places that elude me mentally right now. But I've got the calendar of events I've taken a picture of. So that's what we're going to be doing next week. So I will be out of pocket, but I'm going to try to record some nifty videos of these various historical landmarks, so you can be a patriot voyeur by looking at these things. And I'm just excited to go. We're going with our church and a group of like-minded individuals. What's going on this weekend, boy? I got a lot of work to do. Whenever I go out of town for a week, I feel this enormous pressure to get as much done as I conceivably can. That is the life of an entrepreneur, right? If you don't show up to work, you don't collect a paycheck. If you don't do it, it doesn't get done in many cases. So I got to work my little keister off, get prepared to go to this thing. And I don't know that, oh, we're going to go. My friend Eric and Amy, I think on Sunday, they've got this big, beautiful place in Grundy County. Is that right? I think it's Grundy County. And they're going to do kind of like a little fall festival at their property. Pumpkins and all this, hay rides, all the stuff that makes a good fall festival. So we're looking forward to that. That's going to be a good time this weekend. What else am I going to do? I'm going to try to get down to the gym this evening. I think this evening, if not tomorrow. And I got to run into town to pick up some clothes. I'm the kind of person that will wear the same stuff over and over again. And there does come a point where you got to go get some new threads, right? And so we're about there. So I've got to go to the mall, which I don't necessarily like to do, although I'm still glad it's there. I'm glad it's there. I'm glad I don't have to order everything online. I don't like to order everything online. So I'm going to go to the mall, pick up some stuff, and generally piddle around the house. I'll tell you this story. I had somebody come visit me last night who shall remain nameless, both from whence they came and to where they were going, but somebody influential on the inside of Tennessee government in a variety of ways, in the ways that it connects with state government at the local level. And this individual had some pretty alarming things to say about what's going on that you and I need to know about, and even a lot of legislators need to know about. And we're going to be hopefully reporting on that in the coming weeks because it needs to be brought to light. I have eyes and ears all over the state. If you know of something that's going on that's dastardly, that's not right, and if you can get me some information on it, we will run the story once we can verify it. And this individual also said that they were happy to try to help us send a reporter to Nashville because they were like, if you don't report on this stuff, no one will ever know it. Because the corporate media certainly isn't going to do it because they're all a bunch of Democrats. So here we are, penniless, begging you to please help us send Adelia to Nashville. We need about $20,000, and we have got, I think, around 4 that was brought in. So we're still 16 away, something like that. So if you can make a dent in that, some of you that have been blessed, as I have been blessed, with a good business or a good career, or have saved up and want to make a difference and invest. Again, like I told the folks in Loudon at that Freedom Fest, if we don't step up to the plate with our time, going to see state reps, calling them, emailing them, going to Nashville, knocking on doors, making phone calls to folks, putting out signs for conservative candidates, equipping ourselves to run, how do we expect our government not to go the way of these other blue state governments? We can't. It's just a slow decline if we don't get engaged. And we're already, at a tipping point. And so, and all we can do with the meager resources we have is try to slow down the decay. And I'd much rather be able to go on the offensive, but it all boils down to resources, guys. So if you can chip in, go to TennesseeConservativeNews.com/support or mail your checks to P.O. Box 625, Signal Mountain, Tennessee 37377. I wish I could write the checks, but this has been a rough year for old BL. I took on a lot of overhead in my other business, and I just can't do it. And my wife made me promise about 2 years ago that the Tennessee Conservative would have to stand on its own 2 feet. And I said, yes, dear. And so it must. Guys, love you. Mean it. Put your comments below this story. Share, follow, subscribe. Give us a 5-star review. Whatever you can do to help us incrementally to get this stuff out so we don't have to do so much acquisition and marketing. When you share our content, when you give us reviews, when you do positive things, it helps us reach more folks. Guys, love you. Mean it. Brandon Lewis here with the TenCon Big 7 Weekend Update, saying I will not see you next week, but I'll see you the week after, and hopefully send some videos and some recordings to you as I am in Boston. Take care. God bless. Have a great weekend. See you soon.